We have some information here in this guide. This isn't all of what's in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, but it's some of the things that are contained here. It says here in the upper left where my thumb is there, it says permanent extension of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, or you could just call it the Trump tax cuts. Trump tax cuts were passed in 2017, and they became effective 2018. They were going to expire at the end of this year. The Trump tax cuts have now been made permanent, and so that continues the tax cuts on IRA, 401k, 403b, deferred comp, TSP, SEP, Simple KEO. Also continues the tax cuts for folks who might find, you can actually find in retirement that up to 85% of your Social Security can be federally taxed. That's usually caused by things like large monthly pensions by either spouse, but usually what it's caused by are large tax deferred retirement accounts like IRA, 401k, 403b, deferred comp, TSP, SEP, Simple KEO. So the Trump tax cuts, and it does, you can benefit from this no matter how you vote, whichever way. But the Trump tax cuts being permanently extended can benefit retirees. However, we have a lot of folks, half the folks are President Trump fans or you know, that kind of thing. And so they'll get real cocky about this and say, well, I don't have to worry about the tax hikes coming back that were going to happen in 2026 because the Trump tax cuts have been permanently extended. They've been permanently extended unless they're repealed in the future. So things, we're already seeing maybe that in 2028, the elections could go a totally different way. And what we could have happen in 2029, the Trump this whole thing, this One Big Beautiful Bill Act, could be repealed. One thing we were concerned about for our clients, and it's not political, it's just math. There were some of the tax brackets federally that would affect your tax deferred retirement accounts, the non-Roth retirement accounts, and also will affect up to 85% of your Social Security. Some of those tax brackets were going to be increasing if this had not been signed into law, if these tax cuts had not been extended. If this had not been, these tax cuts had not been extended, we would see just less than 2 months from now that we would go back to what the federal tax rates were under the Obama administration. And in some of the brackets, some of those brackets would increase 25%. So like the 12% bracket was going to become a 15% bracket. And that wouldn't just be for working people, that'd be for retirees too, on their IRAs, 401ks and those, and also on Social Security for folks who pay Social Security and up to 85% of their Social Security. So the Trump tax cuts they are made permanent, but you know, nothing's permanent in DC. If elections go a different direction in 2028, then in 2029 we could find the Trump tax cuts repealed and then we could have higher taxes in retirement. So that could affect things negatively that way. Of course, I know we do have a $38 trillion debt and we spend too much money, I know that as well. But that's something to be aware of.